Hey there, manifesting generators. Thanks for joining me today for your intuitive reading. I haven't been feeling well for the past few days or so, and so this week's readings are a little bit abbreviated. Don't worry, I'll go back to the longer version when I feel up to it. I'm just trying to conserve my energy. If you're new to the channel, I do my readings using runes, tarot cards, and oracle cards, but I do them based on your human design type. And if you don't know what that is, check the link in the information box below to find your type. So, manifesting generators, let's kick it off. The rune I pulled for today is the Self. This is interesting because it's similar to what I pulled for Manifestors on Monday. Really about the willingness to change, to examine ourselves, to be in the world, but not of it. So what does that mean? So we are souls in a human vessel, having a human experience, but that doesn't mean, like, we are here and we are in the moment and we are on this planet, we are on Earth. That doesn't necessarily mean that's where we're from. So we're asked to be here and yet remember where we're from. Remember that higher self. Remember that purpose. Remember why we came here. And this is a time of being open and receptive to what's coming into us from spirit. And it's about rectification. So if there are things that are misaligned in yourself, this is a good time to clean house and become something new. Not really new. I think it's really about becoming who we really are. What we always were by design. So the first card out is the Shaman. And the clarifier card here is Laced, the Moon's Daughter. Laced Moon's Daughter. So this talks about illumination. You can see sort of the light coming in. There's this sort of joy about getting a glimmer of truth, of secret knowledge. You know, it's sort of fun to play in the magic, to play in that realm. And when we're talking about the shaman, we're definitely going into that other world. We're going into the dream world, the astral plane. And we are, through our shamanic practices, whether that's meditation, divination, journeying, whatever that is for you, it's where we're pulling out these insights from the other world. And you'll start to see that random things that don't seem like they're even related to each other start to connect, things start to fall into place. You're like, that's interesting. Things that maybe come to you in your dream suddenly show up somewhere else. You're starting to connect the dots. Your hunches, your intuitions, pay attention to those. Start having more trust in those abilities. And pay attention to symbols coming to you in your dreams. The next card out is the Five of Vessels. This is the card of ecstasy. It's interesting that it comes out with this because it definitely feels like sort of these are shamanic traditions. This very much feels like pagan tradition, connecting to spirit and losing yourself in the process. So to me, this makes me think about what we do in our lives that really helps us to let go and and be in the flow. So all the activities, so it doesn't have to be meditation, but it could be something else. Like for some people, going on a long run, their mind just is able to float away and sort of connect on another plane. Or maybe it's, doing something to you that is second nature, that you don't have to think about. Or maybe it's something that you just love to do, that it just lights you up, fills you up, and you feel so inspired when you do it. This is experiencing that ecstasy. And so the clarifier card for this is the Pook. Pook talks about paradoxes, us recognizing the paradox in the current situation. It talks about finding the good in the bad and the bad in the good. And I was recently talking to someone about this today over the phone, talking about how while this is a really trying time for the human race, think about how it's really benefiting the earth and nature. It's a healing time for nature while humans are experiencing sickness. So what other paradoxes can we find in this situation, and where can we find the good things for us? So for me, finding the good and the bad is, maybe in the beginning of all this isolation and uncertainty, you find yourself being bored, you're not sure what to do with your time. But as time goes on, maybe you just sort of loosen up and you start to try new things and let go and sort of lose it, get creative, and try things that you normally wouldn't, do things that you normally wouldn't. Maybe you're too self-conscious or too driven to stay on task for these other things, and now you have this extra time. Maybe you have this extra time to go inward, to do the spiritual practices that you don't always give attention to. So I think the more that we find ourselves in flow and find ourselves in greater connection with spirit, the more we are coming back to ourselves. The symbol here, split in half, is the rune for joy. So I believe as we are rectifying the self, rediscovering the self, that will lead us to joy, that will lead us to fulfillment. So that's your message for today. Thanks for joining me. Sorry it's so short this week, but check in next Wednesday. I'd love to see you here. Take care. Bye.